Hi, and welcome to yet another episode of Tea with Tanya. This is your host, Tanya, and today's episode is all about crimes, violence, relationship you name it, we cover it today. The guest today with us on board is none other than one of the most celebrated and leading psychiatrists from the state of Odisha. Please welcome Dr. Amrit Pattojoshi to our show. Thank you, Doctor, for coming to the show today.
Thank you for inviting to your show.
So, Doc, tell us one of the most recent cases had got you baffled among the state citizens. Something that has really baffled you in the recent times.
We are hearing about a lot of violence today. Every day you put on the TV, you put on the radio, you hear something gruesome, something bad happening. The level of violence I never expected in a place like Odisha, which we are witnessing now, and which really caught my attention was the murder of a father by a son. You know, he was a distant relative of mine, very, very distant. But the most unifying factor between both of us was we had the same hairdresser. He told me that, sir, I had two people who used to come on TV.
Okay.
One was you, and one was that client. He was my favorite client after you. He would always come, he would pay me generously.
Mm-hmm.
He was absolutely a normal person.
Right.
How could somebody at 3 o'clock or 2:30 in the night
Mm-hmm.
butcher his father in front of the mother?
Terrible business.
This is terrible. And fortunately, unfortunately, one of my close relatives who stays near their house went to the place
Mm-hmm.
to carry the body to the ambulance. And when my relative asked, why is this son not helping? Then somebody told it is the son who was murdered. And this man was sitting in a corner with no emotions, no remorse, no aggression, no anger. He was just sitting mute,
Absolutely blank.
blank. Then I started analyzing how could somebody who talks of law,
Mm-hmm.
who teaches law, who is married,
Mm-hmm. Has a family of his own.
who stays with his parents for whatever reasons in recent times, did this to the father. We can't even see a goat being butchered.
Of course, yes.
When we see a dog, we have tears in our eyes. Where did humanity go?
Mm-hmm.
Where did empathy go? Everything, you think everything is just nothing. And then I realized that this world has changed.
But Doc, since we are on the topic, and this has me thinking, I've been doing this thinking a lot lately. I see a lot of rise in, like stress and, the coincidence with the rise in violent crimes. You see, what I'm trying to say is it's one thing to get angry and have a heated argument with someone. I could totally get angry with you and have a heated argument with you, but I would never think about raising my hands to you. But here we see the extreme violence of that anger, where people are not only killing each other, but they're doing it in broad daylight without any remorse. And not just that, it doesn't just stop there. We also listen or we hear about stories where the gruesome act has escalated into dismemberment of the body. Like, how does it escalate to so far?
So, first of all, let us talk about stress and violence.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you go, people are only talking one thing now, that I'm stressed out. You are stressed out taking my interview. I'm stressed out giving this interview. He's stressed out getting a proper
Recording us.
shot. Somebody is stressed out giving us coffee
Yeah.
because we wanted a little less sugar in it. So, there are different levels of stress. But yes, violence and stress are very, very intimately related.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the type of violence and the stress, chronic stress, if you look at chronic stress, somebody who is having issues, long standing issues, there are no windows to jump out in terms of getting out of the stress, be it for whatever reason. There might be a failed marriage, there'll be financial issues, there might be job issues, there may be personal issues, there might be a lot of things happen in a life. So what actually it does is it takes away our emotional resilience. The resilience goes away. And here, the violence that comes is more of a planned violence. The aggression is more escalatory in nature. But if you look at acute stress, like
Mm-hmm.
we had an argument,
Uh-huh.
and it's more of an impulsive nature. I throw the cup at you, I give you a slap. This is unplanned.
Unplanned. Heat
This
of the
is heat of
moment.
the moment. This is more of impulsive. But if it is chronic stress, it is more of a planned. It's more of a brutal. It is more of more aggressive. Like, okay, I had a fight, and in a fit of rage, I give you a slap, or there is a knife here. I just put a cut.
Stab you, yeah.
But if I'm chronically stressed, if I have a lot of aggression in me, I'll brutally, I'll stab you 100 times, 50 times. That's what we are hearing nowadays. Talking about dismemberment, that's a new concept that we are hearing every day. Every 2 months, we see somebody killing somebody
Yeah.
and cutting the body to pieces. There are a lot of theories regarding this, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the first event that comes to my mind is a doctor in Bhubaneswar.
Oh, terrible. Oh.
For some small reason, his wife objected to certain things when he told something to his daughter who had come from foreign country. After she left, he killed her. He cut her into pieces and put her in
Packed
the
her into a
refrigerator.
fridge, yeah.
And and the worst part was he had a birthday 3 days after he had killed his wife, and people had come to his house. He was cutting his cake in the garden.
As if nothing is
Nothing has
amiss.
happened. Now, what is happening? We need to ask ourselves. Now, whenever, maybe once or twice when we hear this, we feel chilly, we feel, but as this happens on a
When
regular
frequency
basis,
increases,
you get
yes.
desensitized to such things. Oh, he's murdered. He might have cut it into pieces if their body is
So
not.
are you right now suggesting that if this keeps happening at a higher frequency, we might become more used to these kind of incidents?
I'm not telling we might get to, we are already getting used to all these things.
Oh
In the
wow.
last 1 year, if you look at, there are 5 or 6 high profile cases where, once you see it daily, on a daily basis on TV, on radios, being flashed on social media, one segment of the psychopaths, the
Mm-hmm.
sadists, are inclined to do such activities.
Uh-huh.
One segment of the population become insensitive to such happenings because they want to emotionally
Cut themselves off from
out
it.
from the
Hmm.
suffering. Only a few segment will become outraged, will react, but at the end, we know that nothing comes out of all these things. So psychopaths are there, sadists are there.
Sociopath?
The lot of yes, the lot of la- the lot of people who have no emotional connect with people. We are living in a society where community interactions are zero. Families have become zero. People are living in urban places where they are almost anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows them. They're exposed to a lot of violence on social media, games, glorification of all the, I'll just tell you, if you look at what is trending in social media now, there's a fight between BM and PP. I'll not take names. And the words they're using, the abuses, the threatenings, and you look at the views. People are just gulping down all these things. And there is a certain amount of normalization of really horrible, abnormal activities now. The words people are using, the threatening. So, somewhere in the mind, somebody now who is stressed out, who has no connections with people, who has no good social support, wants to do something to somebody. There's nobody to tell him that this is not right, this is not wrong. What he sees on social media is when you get angry, this is how revenge has to be taken. This is how you have been humiliated, you need to get back. You have been broken up in a relationship, she has cheated on you, you need to do this to him or her.
Right.
So, action and reaction are disproportionate.
Right.
If somebody slaps me, or if somebody just tells me that I'm not looking good today, does not mean that I have to kill that person and cut it
Or
into
bodily
pieces.
harm them, yeah.
If somebody rejects my offer of a relationship, or for whatever reason I was in a relationship for a year or two and
And it
I'm
didn't
not,
work out,
yes,
yeah.
it didn't work out. That doesn't give me the right to kill somebody.
Doc, you're a man of science, and I really have to ask you this question. There always has been a question on the innate or intrinsic nature of man. Do you, in your scientific capacity, believe that humans by nature have violent tendencies?
Again, you are normalizing a abnormal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think human by nature are caring, loving, sharing, giving people. Just look at a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Is he killing somebody? Is he hitting somebody? Is he hurting somebody? No. As we grow older and older, the experience which we have in our life, what we see at home. My mother is getting angry at my father and she's throwing something. My mother is getting angry and she's just keeping quiet. My mother is getting angry. She's withdrawing, and after 2 hours, she sits with my father over a cup of tea and tells that I did not like the way you talked to me.
Mm-hmm.
My mother is angry. She comes and slaps me. There's different reactions to one event.
Mm-hmm.
The child sees it.
The
I
child
see a lot of,
repeats.
yeah, somebody, a minor population might be psychologically oriented towards violence,
Uh-huh.
but it's a very, very small proportion.
Mm-hmm.
So, our upbringing, what we see, whom we idolize, our experiences. I have a teacher who shouts at me whenever she's angry. I have a teacher who, when she's angry, calls me in the interval, makes me sit down,
Mm-hmm.
and points out the mistake and makes me promise that I will not repeat the mistake.
Right.
A teacher who shames me in front of everybody, and a teacher who takes me out and tells me, communicates that yes, this is the fault you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I scolded you.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is why I cut your marks here.
Mm-hmm.
So different ways we 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 build our next generation, and I think that's where violence is coming, and their exposure. I think most of our children are learning from the mobiles and the social media, and we are not giving them time. We're giving them money. We're
Mm-hmm.
giving them comfort. We're giving them cars. We're giving them books. We're giving them mobiles. We're giving them dresses. We're giving them trips. We're not able to give them the thought process.
Right.
We're not able to give them the ability to withstand stresses in a life. We're not helping them build relationships in life. We are not helping them learn the life skills required to survive in this highly competitive world. These goals we are setting for them are different from what they actually should be having. So I think the whole system needs a revamp. It's we cannot just blame few people for what is happening to a lot of people around us.
Doc, just to, keep moving on the same line of thought, like you mentioned, that there's a very tiny proportion of human population that might be innately inclined towards violence, of like whatever degree of violence. Now, so far, whatever studies we've been discussing, be it the son who murdered the father or be it the doctor who murdered his own wife, my question to you would be like, are all gruesome crimes motivated, or, like, are they just, some of them might be just haywire and it could be random? So this is what I'm trying to ask you is like, what would be the basic difference between a one time killer and a serial killer?
Yes. Now you're talking about profiling of criminals,
Mm-hmm.
murderers. So if you look at one-time killer, we see a lot of one-time killer languishing in jails. I have seen a lot of one-time killers who have psychiatric illnesses. Like I'll tell you an interesting story. I had been to Puri. I go to Puri once a month to see people who are into substance and who do a lot of crime. So this man, in a fit of rage, when he was 19, killed his father without any reason. He heard voices that his father is going to kill him.
And
So
he
if he
was
wants to,
convinced, huh?
he had an illness and he killed his father.
Father.
He was relieved after 14 years in jail.
So he was 19 when he did it, right? Huh.
So 2 months after he came out of jail and he
Mm-hmm.
went home, he almost killed his mother. Almost. So he was put. The police understood that he has a mental illness and they brought him, and we are now treating him.
Mm-hmm.
So every 3 months, 4 months, I come across people who are like this.
Mm-hmm.
These are the habitual offenders if they are not caught.
If they're not caught.
If this man would never have been caught, he wouldn't have done a crime in front of people. You wouldn't have known what he is doing. We have these people who, you must have heard a lot of stories about the stone people crushers who walk on the streets and kill people.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
have had one or two close people who are walking on the streets, and somebody having a psychiatric illness has put a stone on them out of nowhere, and they have been maimed for life, crippled for life. There's one segment of the population. People who kill once are, a lot of, if you look at the maximum number of murders that occur, the one time murders, they are all murders of passion.
Murders of passion.
These are acute, a one time event.
Mm-hmm.
My partner has cheated on me, I will kill. My
Hmm.
partner has done this. Most of the crimes of passion are one time murders.
Oh.
But serial offenders are more in the psychiatric illness, or we have a segment of people, we call them as antisocial personalities.
Uh-huh.
These have no empathy. They have no emotions for anybody. If
Mm-hmm.
needed, they'll sell their family members also for money. They have no remorse. They have no guilt.
Mm-hmm.
They are also always into themselves, how they will gain things.
Their survival. Mm-hmm.
Not their survival. If you kill for survival, that's a different issue. Nobody kills for survival in this world, except if you are attacked.
Uh-huh.
If somebody is holding a gun and you hit him and kill him, that's a different issue. But these are people who don't want to work, who
Mm-hmm.
want to have the shortcuts to life, who kill for money, who kill to gain an upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people who should never be released from jail.
Right.
Because these are people who will come out again
And do it all over
do it all
again.
over again. Because they never have understood that they've done something wrong. They'll always justify what they have done. A one time killer knows that what he has done is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but at that moment, he thought that this is the
Right thing to
right
do.
thing to do, however wrong he might be. So there's a difference in the thought process between somebody who has killed once and somebody who is going to kill multiple times.
That is beautifully explained, Doc. That brings a lot of, ease into the conversation. But if I took our conversation a little away from the crimes that we see in the modern world, in the city or out, could we talk about the new trends of, relationships transforming into situationships, and why the Gen Z and the, other generations that are coming after, I even forget the names of the generations that are coming after Gen Z. So that being said, like, they've come across and they've come up with a lot of different jargons for the same thing that we've always had. So how do you deal with that? I mean, what is this situationship anyway?
Very interesting question, because I think every day I see 10 people, coming up with these issues. If you look at the younger generation means from 14 years to 27, 28, they're very, very insecure generation. Why insecure? Again, you'll ask me why they are so insecure. We were a generation which was not entirely dependent on one relationship.
Okay.
We had parents, we had extended family, we had siblings, we had cousins, we had friends, we had a circle where we used to go and play. We had a circle, we had our parents, friends, children with us. So different circles. We were, we had a lot of eggs put in a lot of baskets. The current generation, families have become nuclear.
Right.
People have very less friends. Friendship is again more of a bargain.
Give and take.
Let's give, more take.
I hope it works either way.
So what happens is the moment you start giving a little more, you feel that you are being manipulated in the relationship.
Manipulated, yes, of
Because there is
course.
no relation in the world which is 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
It is based on circumstances, based on situations. Suppose in a home,
Mm-hmm.
I and my mother. Let's look at a relationship between me and my mom, or let us look at a relationship between my father and my mother.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to something at the home, my mother will have an upper hand. She will give 90%.
Mm-hmm.
When it's out of the home, it will be 90-10. So you cannot always, have the exact, it's like a goldsmith's calculation that this is
It cannot be
0.01,
calibrated, yes.
not be calibrated. What is more important is we giving everything in the relationship. everything does not mean that you give everything and then you are
You're left with nothing.
nothing.
Yes, of course.
So every relationship you need to put some emotional balance in check. थोड़ा सा emotions को रखना है. By chance, if anything goes wrong in the relationship, and I always tell when somebody walks into a relationship,
Right.
that थोड़ा सा hold back,
Mm-hmm.
ताकि कभी कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाए तो आप रिकवर कर सकते हैं.
Right.
बहुत बार क्या होता है, आप सब कुछ देते हैं रिलेशनशिप में, कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो जेनजेड तो एक इनसिक्योर जनरेशन है. तो जब आप इनसिक्योर हो तो आपके पास जो भी है यू वांट टू होल्ड ऑन टू इट.
Right.
You hold on to it too tight.
Too tight.
And when it becomes a news, you want to struggle out of it.
Tell us one of your case studies on these kids.
I tell you, there are a lot of बहुत ही ज़्यादा है. मतलब मैं तो कभी कभी लोगों को बोलता हूँ कि वन ऑफ द कॉमनेस्ट वर्ड्स जो मैं सुनता हूँ आजकल इज आई मीन ए टॉक्सिक रिलेशनशिप.
Oh, the word toxic was never so toxic before.
मैं बोलता हूँ यार ये टॉक्सिक क्या है यार. So now everybody wants their independence.
Absolutely.
If you look at the Gen Z relationship, they're more into themselves. They're more into their mental health. They're more into their personal growth. And they want their independence. Now, you and me are in a relationship. I want my independence and I don't want you to be independent.
Wow, it
I want
sounds very...
some of the things they're doing is beyond my thought process. 24 hours people are on video calls.
Oh, checking on
एक
each
phone,
other. Yes, of
24
course.
घंटा वीडियो कॉल में रहते हैं आजकल लोग. सर ऑफ क्यों कर दिया, उसका लोकेशन क्यों ऑफ हो गया, उस जगह में क्यों लोकेशन ऐसे नहीं किया, मुझे ऐसा क्यों, फोन क्यों एंगेज्ड आया.
This is paranoia.
यदि फोन एंगेज्ड आया तो मैं बोला ऐसे तो रिलेशन चलेगा नहीं. जिसको चीट करना तो आराम से चीट कर सकता है. तो ट्रस्ट फैक्टर तो खत्म ही हो गया है. The only thing people are looking into somebody is loyalty. कि आप मेरे साथ हो. Either you're trying to lock up somebody in only yourself and not allowing somebody to talk to parents, friends, कुछ भी. And one day कुछ दिन बाद वो तो टॉक्सिक हो ही जाएगा. So कहीं ना कहीं लोगों को breathing space नहीं मिल रहा है. Some people want all the breathing space. I can do anything. I can talk with my friends. I can do this. I can do that. But you can't do anything. So the whole paradigm of relationship बदल गया है.
बदल गया है.
यूं बहुत बार मैं बोलता हूँ इफ यू इन टॉक्सिक रिलेशनशिप व्हाई डोंट यू वॉक आउट ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप. नहीं,
रहना भी है, सहना भी है.
क्यों रहना है मैं बता रहा हूँ. मैं बोला क्यों रहना चाहते हो. बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू फील बी अलोन. एवरीबडी इज वर्किंग विद अ बॉयफ्रेंड. आई टोल्ड एवरीबडी अराउंड यू इज सैड. एवरीबडी अराउंड यू इज नॉट एबल टू ब्रीथ.
एंड यू चूज दैट.
एंड व्हाई आर यू चूजिंग दैट. बोला नहीं सर, कौन पिक्चर लेगा मुझे, कौन मुझे गाड़ी में घुमाने लेगा, वैलेंटाइन डे में मैं किसके साथ फूटूं. सब बोलते हैं तू अकेला है, तेरे पास कोई
So
नहीं.
the very definition of a partner has changed.
Yes. No, it is what you want. Many people want a partner just to show to the world that I have a partner.
I'm not alone.
Many people have a partner to maybe possess them. I told there is a lot of difference between possessiveness and love. There's a lot of difference between love, being in a relationship, and trying to own up. There's a lot of difference between being in love and being obsessive about it. Once you start checking every single second, every single minute, जिंदगी भर क्या पीछे देखते देखते चलोगे.
So since we were talking about violent crimes and then we jumped right into relationships of the modern times, let's talk a little bit about violence in same-sex relationships and how things can go nasty to worst and how things escalate too fast too soon.
So आप यदि इंटीमेट पार्टनर वायलेंस की बात कर रहे हैं,
Right.
व्हाट वी टॉक अबाउट इज IPV हम लोग बोलते हैं. एंड आई हैड अ स्टडी व्हिच इज पब्लिश्ड इन अ वेरी गुड जर्नल. कोविड के टाइम में इंटीमेट पार्टनर वायलेंस पे हमने एक सर्वे किया था व्हिच हैज कम आउट इन अ वेरी पॉपुलर जर्नल, साइकियाट्रिक जर्नल. हम लोग देखे थे कि कोविड में बिकॉज ऑफ द लॉकडाउन, बिकॉज ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज, बिकॉज ऑफ बोथ पार्टनर्स स्टेइंग टुगेदर फॉर a long time, violence increased 33% in the population, intimate partner violence, of which verbal violence was significant, physical violence and sexual violence. And जिस relationship में violence था वो 70% और escalate हो गया. Suppose you and me are in a relationship where I have been violent to you, पोस्ट कोविड में 70% इंक्रीज हो गया वायलेंस.
Maybe because of the proximity
या एंड 35% ओवरऑल वायलेंस में
increase aa
इंक्रीज
gaya.
हो गया.
So help me understand this, doc. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned that ki COVID lockdown pe, there was an inclination of 33% of overall violence where you had verbal, physical, and sexual violence. Now, if a couple is already intimate on a very sexual level, right? What would motivate them to, manifest sexual violence? I mean, I don't see a point here. Like, why would someone who's already sexually intimate with someone would act upon sexual violence with the same person?
Now, suppose there are two partners,
Uh-huh.
both are intimate. Now, if the male has a desire to have sex every day 3 times,
Okay.
and the other partner is not in a position, not willing to do that,
Not accommodating
and not in a mood to do that with
hmm,
all the stresses. Now, should the partner force himself into?
himself on the partner. Yes. Okay.
Should she be punished because she is not complying with the sexual desires? Should she be punished for not doing certain acts which she is not comfortable with?
Okay. That way.
Should she be subjected to violence
Mm-hmm.
because she's teaching her son? Her father-in-law is sick and she has to attend to the toilet and he has a sexual desire.
Oh.
Should she come into the room at 2 o'clock in the afternoon
Mm-hmm.
and shut the door?
So this, so we are talking about in a male-female perspective, right? Has this never occurred in a reverse perspective where a female has?
I was just coming to that. I was coming to the next point when you interrupt me. Now, if the female has sexual desires which the
Yeah.
male is not able to do, if the female is joking on the male's anatomy,
Hmm.
powers, or what she hears from her friends about their
Should be the.
relationship, a lot of females who have become very abusive now, have become
Mm-hmm.
very aggressive now.
Mm-hmm.
The trend has changed.
The trend has changed.
Now it's almost 30%, 70%. 30% of the females have become, or the people who come to me are aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
abusive, who hit, who
Hmm.
slap, who bite, who stab, who kick. And abuse has become very, very normal now for females. I might sound sexist, but my father using a cuss word and my mother using a cuss word are two different things.
Any day, hands down. It's not about
And if you
feminism.
look
It's
at
just how.
violence in terms of IPV, there's a lot of the narratives that have been created has contributed to all these things.
Hmm.
The very story when we hear that a handsome, tall, strong man, protects a damsel in distress,
Mm-hmm.
makes us believe that the man is always the strong man
Hmm.
and the
Always a
woman
tall
is
guy.
always the distressed woman. So it plays on the mind actually.
Hmm.
The man wants to dominate, the man wants to control,
Mm-hmm.
the woman is in distress. She has
Mm-hmm.
nowhere to go. So she has to accept
Mm-hmm.
whatever is being thrown at her because she's being protected by somebody. But there is no protection. There is violence, there is abuse, there is
Mm-hmm.
assault. Somewhere the narrative has to change
Right.
where we look upon women who don't tolerate violence.
Hmm.
We need to tell our mothers,
Mm-hmm.
to tell their daughters not to abuse, not to be abused.
Right.
And that's where the empowerment of women is so important. I always tell women need to be educated. Women needs to be made to stand on their feet so that they do not tolerate justice. Now look at a girl who has sacrificed everything and has 2 children. The husband is beating her. The husband is abusing her. The husband is going out with other females. And the moment the wife complains, the moment the wife cries, the moment the wife shows any sign of dissatisfaction and tells that I will leave you, the husband tells you get out. Because he knows that she has married against the parents' choice. She cannot go back to the parents.
So he's taking away all the options.
Because the parents told, we had told you don't marry there. She cannot talk to her friends because everybody is on Insta showing their happy married life. She does not want to be discussed. Husband is telling you get lost. The mother-in-law is telling
Just
गलती हो गया
tolerate it.
माफ कर
Yeah,
दो छोड़ दे इस
absolutely. This
बार.
happens, yes.
The wife thinks that he brings me sadis. He had
Mm.
taken me to Switzerland on a trip 6 months back. Means he loves me.
We all do this to ourselves when we try to justify the wrong.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's where I'm coming. So somewhere the wife, why I'm telling wife is because I want women to be empowered because they have the capability, they have the ability. So please don't sacrifice on your career because when there is a divorce, when there is a separation, you will emotionally you are much more attached to the child than the father is. It will be very easy for him to walk out. I'm not generalizing, but this is what I see. Mothers are much more, fathers care. I don't tell I'm a father, I'm a single father. That doesn't mean that I don't care for my child. But the intensity of the care my wife had for my child and what I have are different levels.
Absolutely. I've heard this, I've read this and heard this. That's, like if there are two kids being raised in the same family by the same set of parents, they were actually raised by two different parents because every parent deals with the child differently. It's not going to be the same with both the child. A lot of things come into picture. But yes, you mentioned Instagram in one of your last answers, and that's where I'm now coming to. With the advent of a lot of digital platforms and Insta and Snapchat and WhatsApp and everything else that's happening out there, Facebook, to name a few, do you think the rate of infidelity has increased subsequently?
I'll tell you certain things. Now I'll be brutally honest today. What I've seen in the last 10 years is the rates of sexual abuse has naturally come down a little. Infidelity is now the rule.
Do you think are they mutually inclusive because the infidelity is going high and that's why abuse is some.
What was happening, if you look at our cultural context of why were daughter-in-laws told not to show their faces.
Uh-huh.
My father-in-law is like my father. How can he have a bad eye on me?
Right.
When somebody is marrying in my family, a girl is coming, father-in-law is the father.
Yes.
Why will we tell that you don't show your face, you
To
have to be fully covered? नहीं तो बुरी नज़र लग जाएगा. Why the elder brother say you have to stay away? Because it was the power. The power, they had access to everything. And those things cannot go out. If there is a sexual abuse in the family,
You would never want others to know about it.
so there's a lot of abuse going out in the community. There are a lot of, incestuous relationships. I think incest has come down a little lot. What I'm telling you might be scandalous to you. You might tell, what is this doctor speaking about? But I'm speaking from what I'm seeing now. Scandals have come down in terms of incest. Infidelity is in the rise. Now, depends on what you think about infidelity. My definition of infidelity is different from what you might be speaking.
Well, I'll tell you what. So, one of my friends was, he loves to chat with multiple women on one of these social media platforms. I'll definitely not name the friend. So, one day while we were all hanging out together, I watched him do it. He was constantly on the phone. So, I gave him a nudge and I told him, who are you texting? And why are you texting so much? And he said, there was this girl online and I found her interesting and she was cute, kind of. And I thought maybe I should say hi. And I said, that's fine. And a couple of days later, I see him doing it with somebody else. And so when we sat down, like when we were having a heart to heart, and I told him that, maybe this speaks bad for you. I don't see how this speaks positively for you when you're moving from person to person, saying hi to everybody, not sticking to one person, not letting it develop into something more. And he said, बात ही तो कर रहा हूँ, मिल तो नहीं रहा ना, किसी को धोखा तो नहीं दे रहा ना. So see, so when he said that, when he voiced it out, it made sense that he was not cheating on anyone in particular. He was just talking to random people at one time. But to my brain, talking to so many people at a time sounded like cheating. I don't know. I mean, I might be totally wrong.
So what you actually come to is what is happening now. Now, what is happening in today's world now? We have a lot of dating apps. WhatsApp, Insta, Snapchat. Then we have Tinder. Then we have Bumble. Then we have Hinge.
Oh my God, you know more than me.
I know much more. I know much more. So, it started with Facebook, Messenger. It actually started with Yahoo. Then it's, Orkut.
Orkut, yes.
Then Facebook came. There was an evolution of how things, Facebook was the first time when people randomly started, talking
Sending
to
out
each
friend
other.
requests, yes.
No, I'll tell you. We can't blame the person who is clicking always. We need to have a bird's eye view of what is happening in today's world. How are we managing our relationships? What are the options we have in life? So many times what happens, a lot of people are insecure. A lot of people, need validation. A lot of people are very low self-esteem. If they talk to 10 girls, they feel that, they're not doing anything. They're actually not doing anything. There's no infidelity in terms of emotional involvement.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
what I've been
physical
told. Yeah,
involvement.
yeah. There was no
It is
physical,
just
emotional
that
involvement. Yeah,
I am talking to 10
it's
girls.
just harmless
It's
conversation.
just
Yes.
harmless conversation. But for many, it is not harmless. Some people take these things very seriously.
Yeah, they might.
Some
Yeah.
people, that's what happens with situationship.
Ah,
You're always insecure.
you don't know where it is, huh?
You don't know where it is. You don't know what the other partner is thinking about you. With time, you become serious. You see people around you, gradually getting into the fix, and you are there where you were.
But doc, ये तो अपने time पे भी था. But why are Gen Z able to define it so better?
No, Gen Z have become very, very crystal clear about certain things and absolutely unclear about the pertinent and the cardinal things in life. That's why they're so confused. They know everything and actually they've forgotten the basics of life. They know everything. You talk to them. When a Gen Z comes, I have to take it when many times when a challenging case comes, I take a break. I'll just relax and come back. Because I need to be at my peak because they're judging you. The moment you enter, what shoes you are wearing, which jeans you are wearing, which t-shirt, which mobile, they've already judged you before they've come in. If they know that you are up to date, they check your Insta profile,
How many followers you have? Is
followers,
your
which
post
pictures, what are you
relevant?
doing, what are you sending, and then they feel that no, this is the doctor I can talk to. So many of the things which you put on Insta are not for us.
Uh-huh.
So when people are looking at you, you need to be at your best.
So let me ask you this really quick. So if a very young client is, on his way or on her way to come to you, see you, do you take a notice of your attire? Because if you look a little more casual in approach, maybe the young client will open up to you more. Or do you,
Absolutely.
yeah?
You know, many times people tell me, why do you dress up like this? Dress up little. You are little. You take more care of your hair. You take more care of yourself. Psychiatry is something which was associated with a lot of stigma, and many of these stigma were associated with the psychiatrist also. They would never dress up well. They would come, it was as if, but the people who are coming to us have changed. The mindset has changed.
I understand,
They want
yes.
to associate with somebody, I am the ambassador.
I represent this.
I represent them. If they don't feel that somebody is up to me,
Huh.
if they think that I am their father who never cared for them in a way they wanted, I am that father for them who has never connected, who could never understand what is Bumble, how does Bumble operate, who has not been able to understand what is breadcrumbing, who is not able to
Oh,
understand,
I don't know what is breadcrumbing, but you have to
you
tell
know,
me.
you know, there are a lot of things which he needs to understand. This is a man who does not know what is pubbing. This is a man who, so somewhere you need to be,
So, how do you keep yourself? How do you keep yourself, like the real you, Dr. Amrit Pattojoshi, alive in yourself when you're busy embodying everything else happening around yourself?
I reached a point in my life where I thought life was not worth living. And that was the moment I decided, no, enough is enough. And I need to give back. When you expect, you become sad. Because your expectations can never be matched in life. So one day I decided, ab, let's live our life. There's one life. You need to be happy, you need to do good, but you need to also take care of yourselves. So how do you need to take care of yourself? Do what gives you pleasure. Suppose I'm a psychiatrist. I need to work. People work 8 hours. I work for 12 hours a day. So I need to work 12 hours. Let me enjoy my work. Let me do it with pleasure because this is what has given me everything. This has given me name. This has given me fame. This has given me a credibility in the market. This has given me whatever I am wearing today, whatever I am driving today, what I am able to give back. So let me give back. God has been kind enough. God has been unkind to me in a lot ways. But God has also been kind
Kind
to
to
me.
you in a lot of
So if
other
I look at
ways.
those things, I'll be sad. If I look at these things, at least I'll be happy. So I started No, psychiatry was always my passion, but I went more into it. Sports was a passion with me, so I started playing a little bit of sports. You know, somewhere I started doing things which I loved, and I started loving the things which I had to do. If I had to be with you, I had to give this podcast, I have to be happy here. I cannot be thinking too much. And I stopped thinking about results. I stopped thinking about too far ahead in life because it takes a second to change everything in a life. That's what I realized with life. So I thought, let me give my best. Let me do my best. I can't make everybody around me happy. People who matter to me, people who make me happy, let me live my life for them. And let me not think too much about what I'm getting, what I'm giving. Those calculations have to be put in the back bench. So
Absolutely.
acknowledge, tell thank you to people around you, and a lot of people who are doing so much for you in life. So keep on moving, keep on running, keep the paradigms higher, think out of the box, think beyond what others are thinking. I think that's the mantra for a happy life.
Right. So, but thank you so much for those words. It means a lot because I guess all of us, including myself and everybody who's watching us right now, would relate to this, that we all feel lost at times. We all feel overwhelmed. It's only human to feel that way at times, but it's also human to rise above all of it and choose yourself before choosing everything else. So I think, yeah, it makes a lot of sense coming from you. So, like moving back to the previous topic that you touched down on incest. Now, what motivates incest in anybody? Is it familiarity?
No, again, incest is something that I'll categorize into two. One is a consensual and one is a non-consensual.
Okay.
Why I tell non-consensual is now a lot of times incest occurs between two people who have a little age gap is little more. There the younger victim has gone into a relationship when she was 15, 16 and
She's been
evolved to
groomed
20,
into it,
21.
yes.
And because the power structure is like that, the dominant man always threatens her with something. And she knows that because she's not been a good student or she had certain issues in school or at home, everybody will blame her. The mother tells it's your fault. Because at certain moments in life, we are very vulnerable. Not saying no does not mean I'm saying yes.
Wow, that's profound.
Many times we cannot say no because I have talked with people, victims, who tell me that we could not understand how this could happen. Is it real?
It feels so.
Because I never could think that this man would
The
do
one
this.
person I was supposed to feel safe
Is
with.
it accidental? If I react, will it be bad?
Did I do something to deserve it? Yeah.
No, that comes later. Because till now, I'm not able to understand the
If
gravity
it
of this
really
situation.
happened, yeah.
Somebody has touched me. Somebody has put his hands inside my clothes. Was it accidental? Could he do it? I'm frozen. I'm a hyper anxious woman. I'm frozen. I'm not able to do. So younger victims, when they come to me, they tell me that they were shocked. They could not react. They always would feel that, is it real? Is this man doing this to me? Is what I'm feeling the correct thing? If I shout,
Would
will something
someone
happen?
harm?
And at that moment, they're absolutely frozen. They can't react. They can't understand the gravity of the situation. They don't know what to do,
Right.
whom to tell. Because this is the man everybody prays to.
She
He's
looks
the
up to the
revered
guy,
man.
yes.
She, the entire family. How can I tell that? If I tell, what will happen to their children? What will happen to the joint family structure that I'm going through? I have had somebody who used to come and tell me that my father has sex with me.
Non consensually?
I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what are you speaking? How can your father have sex with you? Yes, he tells. I told, why don't you resist? I told, if I resist, he does not give me a single pie and my course will not be completed. When I tell my mother tells me, you consent till you pass out.
How do you deal with that? How do you
Told,
deal with
what are you
something
speaking? She told, you go and look at my mother. She's depressed. She's down. My father also abuses her.
of course.
She wants me to get out of this whole structure. The only way I can get out is if I finish my education. I told, your father must be sick.
Hmm.
No sane man will do this.
Hmm.
No sane man will tell to the daughter that if you don't give me sex, I will not give you
This is pure
this for
blackmail.
education. I told, do a favor to me. You take treatment from me. You also give this to your dad. The daughter left the home.
Hmm.
But the father, after we started medication, the father never ever gave, did all these things to her. The second aspect is again consensual. People in close proximity,
Hmm.
people who are not in very stable relationships, not in very good relationships. The other partner is not caring. Other partner is no doing things they wanted. It is for the pure lust also sometimes. It is sometimes momentary. It is many times spur of the moment. It is many times function induced in the family. There are a lot of functions where people, cohabitate together. They're in close proximity. In the house, there's not much space. Side by
No
side, so
privacy.
when there's no privacy and something happens, side, people are sleeping. Somebody puts the hand, the other person does not react. Then it turns into something,
Completely different.
yes, the dopamine urge, the dopamine surge that is needed. But many times relationships occur even when the relationships are stable. There's no reason why something's happening.
So how
So
do you put that into a category when nothing is wrong
when
and yet
nothing is wrong and
everything
it
goes wrong somehow?
it means nothing was right also.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's nothing wrong. We're not fighting. We are,
Oh, you mean there
but
was
there was no
lack of.
connection. They're not, that. What happens is relationships evolve to different stages.
Hmm.
The initial stage when I try to impress my partner, when I try to put my best foot forward, when I try to appease, when I try to get him into my, hitch him into my vehicle.
Hmm.
But once the vehicle starts moving,
Hmm.
then the problem starts. And that's where the maximum input should be. I think the maintenance phase is the most challenging phase in
Which
life.
is why marriages are falling short now.
Another transition occurs when there's a childbirth. And,
Hmm.
people will kill me because I'm speaking like this. Partners need to also be partners once they become mothers. I'm not demeaning mothers because I see a paradigm shift in now fathers taking care of the children much more than our
Hmm.
fathers were doing of what we are doing. If I look at today's parents in terms of parenting, the males are playing almost an equal part. And I'm proud of the fact that males have evolved
Hmm.
so much that they've started taking care of the babies, they've started taking care of the partners. But I have a simple request. It's almost a request because I see a lot of people who are coming to me, a lot of extramarital affairs occurring. There's a lack of spark in the marriage post childbirth.
Post
There's
childbirth.
a lack of intimacy post childbirth. Everything is evolved in the child. We are
Hmm.
investing too much on the child. The
Hmm.
emotional investment, the physical investment, the time investment is too much.
Oh, I can totally relate to this because I remember I was once in a birthday party of, one of my friends, common friend's daughter. And the child was just 1 year old, and we had met after such a long time. So, like any other friend, you go up to them and greet them, hug them, and ask them how they are doing in their lives. So I went up to him and I told him, how is life treating you? How is fatherhood treating you? And, he had a weird face on, like, he had a weird face towards me, and he said, I am happy and sad both at the same time. And I said, why are you sad? I mean, happy I can understand, but why would you be sad? You wanted a baby, right? And he said, yeah, but not at the cost of my wife.
You got the point.
Yeah, I mean, now I do. I mean, once you've told me, so I totally do. I mean, I understand what he meant that day. I wanted a baby, but not at the cost of my wife. I lost my wife
So,
in the process. Yes.
so I tell to people that you need to make some active, efforts to keep the relationship thriving. Once you reach a stalemate, once now if both are working, there's a different paradigm. If one is working at home and one is working outside,
Side.
it's a different paradigm. And if both are working together at home, it's a different paradigm. No?
Paradigm.
We have different situations now, which was
Hmm.
never there. If you look at 20 years back, most of the males were working outside, most of the females working at home.
Hmm.
Both were working. I think the females were working much more.
Hmm.
And even for 100 rupees, they had to beg.
Right. Or steal.
And now the paradigms have shifted now.
Yeah.
Now most of them are working together. I think the males have had a diffusion in their roles also.
Hmm.
But I want the partners, and because many of the females come and tell me our husbands are cheating on us. Few of the males are coming and telling that my wives are cheating on us, and it's rising now. I need to tell you that we need to put more into the relationship.
Hmm.
We need to be more open about what we need from the other partner.
Hmm.
We need to be more accommodative.
Hmm.
We need to balance the time we give to a child, the time we give to our husbands,
Hmm.
what we want from our husbands. If you make them just somebody who gets me money, gets my groceries, gets my machinery work done, then he'll go out. I'm not justifying whatever wrong somebody is doing, but I am
We
sitting
can't
here to
deny the
tell,
cause as well.
yes, how we can work on certain things, because there's a problem. There has to be a solution to it, and the solution lies in the way my husband is mine. That's why he had a child from me. My wife is my wife. No, that's why she had a child. It's a
Hmm.
Once you have a child, it's almost like a lifetime commitment.
Hmm.
Nowadays, a lot of relationships are built on the fact that we will not have a child. Many of the relationships are today intact because of the children we have.
Yeah.
That's the unifying factor.
Yes.
Now, if you have to stay together, why can't we be happy with each other?
Hmm. Why do we need a third person to keep us
That's a
together?
different story. First, let us be happy with each other. Once we
Hmm.
are happy with each other, we don't, even if a third person comes, he'll come and go away. He
Hmm.
cannot get deeper into the things.
Then you don't make your life all about your child, and
Yes.
your child doesn't have to do the same for
So,
you.
what happens is now, once you make your child the center of everything, the
Hmm.
pressure on the child rises.
Yes.
Because you have invested so much into the child, you will tell, I've sacrificed everything, I need my returns.
Hmm.
Returns in what sense? You have to listen to me, you have to do what I want to do,
Hmm.
you have to do the way I want you to do, you have to get marks the way I want to do. Even if you're swimming, you have to be first. You're going in the essay competition at first. We put a lot of
Pressure. Lot
expectations
of
on them.
pressure. Absolutely.
We're like, it's like an investment on the child, and
Hmm.
that's where the pressure is. Look at what is happening in Kota today. What are we doing? We think that we send them to Kota, we have given the money, we have sent them to the best place, that the
It's
best
like
things
a
will come up.
processing plant. You
You
send your
cannot,
child,
you cannot put oranges and get out grape
expect,
juice out
yeah,
of it. You
absolutely.
cannot, whatever sophisticated the machine will be. So what is happening is, when the parents are telling you've got such less marks, I have sacrificed everything, and the parents are doing a lot. Let me be very honest. The parents are doing much, but you should expect the best out of a child.
Hmm.
That is giving the best. If somebody is not made for that,
Hmm.
withdraw and bring back. The bring back policy should always be there. Don't overcome it.
This is something I can totally relate to. A lot of young people, be of our age, a little too old to be called young, or the real young ones now, they all have this one insecurity, deep rooted insecurity inside them. We don't have a person to fall back on. Like, usually, any family person, any one person from the family should be that one person where you could fall back on. They don't have that person. So, I'm given endless options to do this, that, or that, but if don't want any of them and I just want to come back home, I don't have that option. Nobody ever tells their child, now I think it's a little changing scenario some places, but mostly, especially in Indian households, nobody ever tells their children that you're going out to do so and so. If you don't succeed, come back home. It's always open to you. It's just one sentence, but it could do worlds of wonders to them.
One of the major reasons is competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Competition is not, competition in the family, in the friend circle, in your social media profiles. That how could the son return back? I tell, I tell many of the parents when they tell that he has a mental illness, will he be able to study again? I tell, ask me, will he be able to smile again?
Hmm.
Don't ask me whether he'll be able to pursue his engineering course or his medical course.
Hmm.
Bullshit, shut it off.
Hmm.
My father had told me one thing: you be a peon, you be a doctor, you be an engineer, I don't care. As long
Hmm.
as you are a good soul, as long as you're a disciplined man, I care. You might drive a cycle, you might drive a car. That's the only difference.
I
But
mean,
I want a good soul.
yeah, I mean,
My
ambition
That's
is
the
good.
parenting that needs to be imbibed in people. We need good people. We need happy people. We
Mhm.
need people who care. We need people who look out, who have good life skills, who can communicate well, who can keep relationships intact. These are the kind of people we want in our
Hmm.
life. But we are just having people who will get you 99% marks, who know nothing about how to navigate the world, and then land up in talking about stress, talking about toxic relationship, becoming violent either to others or violence to us,
Themselves.
taking substance, ruining their life, talking about not able to cope,
And getting into the very toxic cycle.
and then the mess which is around us.
Absolutely. But that was a great way how you've summed up this all conversation that we had. It was absolutely lovely to have you on board with us, Doctor. And I can tell you, I could come up with 6 more questions from the conversation we had, but I know we are running out of time now. So, just for everybody else to know that we would be converting this into a series of a new few more episodes where we'll be delving into, love, hate love relationships, and all those kind of things. And if you have some suggestions to give to us, or you have some question to ask Dr. Amrit Pattojoshi, you're most welcome to write them down in the comment section below. Do give us a like, do follow us, and subscribe our channel on YouTube. See you guys next time. This is Tanya signing off from Tea with Tanya.